Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first webinar of Capital Project. Today, we will introduce you to the ITS e-learning platform. We will give you some information about the project, of course, and you will discover about the tools provided by the project on how to learn more about ITS and cooperative ITS. So my name is Monica Giannini. I'm a senior manager in Ertico, and I will be the first speaker today in this webinar, together with my colleague Julia, who will follow up and bring you a little bit more into the details of the e-learning platform. You are muted, so you are in principle not able to interact, at least if we don't give you the right of presenter. But if you have any questions, you can type the question in the question area in the webinar interface that you see, or you can also raise your hand, and by raising your hand, you will notify us that you want to say something. Okay, so let's start with the agenda. This webinar is planned to last 1 hour, so we will finish by 4 this afternoon with a wrap-up. We will start with a few examples of intelligent transport system and CITS deployment. What are the, let's say, systems available and deployed, and also what are the basic elements that public authorities would need to know in order to be able to deploy ITS and CITS. And then I will introduce you to the project Capital, funded by the European Commission, and the tools that the project has been developed, is still developing, to support public authorities and not only public authorities. Then we will have 5 minutes dedicated to questions and answers, so that's when we will read your questions. So feel free to type your questions at any time, and we will dedicate some time to answering these. The second part of this webinar will be dedicated to the e-learning platform, where you will learn about it, how to reach it, how to use it, what can be provided through this tool that we have developed. And we could also, let's say, you could interact and let us know what you would like to learn on ITS and CITS. And if there are other, let's say, any feedback you could give us, considering what you will be able to see today. We hope that you will be curious, and you will use the platform and the e-learning tool in the coming days, and you will be always, of course, welcome to send us any feedback. And then Capital Project is not finished, so we will have future training opportunities, some initiative. You might have, let's say, heard about also these initiatives that we will organize at this European Congress in June 2019, so you will learn a little bit more about this. So let's go. And let's start with ITS and CITS. Okay, ITS stands for Intelligent Transport Systems, and let's say that it's a combination of application of information and communication technologies to transport. So it gives intelligence to transport. And today we have so many enabling technologies that let's say, evolution of ITS into cooperative ITS. It's the next step in intelligent transport system development, and it's enabled by wireless communication between vehicles, other road users, roadside units, and back office systems. So it's really a community of connected objects that can really enhance and bring additional intelligence to transport. Would like to give you some example of what we are talking about, just to have a common understanding. Let's say some example of intelligent transport system. Some of you might remember some years ago, like 8 years ago, this ITS directive that was, let's say, published by the Commission. They were pushing to have especially more information systems, like traveler information systems, ticketing, tracking, booking systems. So these were, let's say, one of the first examples of ITS that the European Commission really wanted to push forward, to bring some intelligence enabled by new technologies in the use of transport, in the organization of transport. So we have like tracking systems, monitoring systems that are, let's say, the usual systems deployed by public transport companies, by public transport authorities, for example. Then we have additional ITS like speed alert systems, blind spot information systems, who are supporting both drivers but also enforcers. Dynamic traffic management and local danger warnings. So these are additional examples of intelligent transport system. And then another, I would say, cluster is again to support drivers, like in eco-driving or dynamic navigation systems, advanced traveler information systems. These are compared to the let's say, initial systems providing information to travelers and enhanced. And the enhancement is continuous because there are more and more technologies available. And that's also coming from the connectivity, let's say, technology available, that we have started to listen, to hear more and more about cooperative ITS. Here is a simple list of cooperative ITS. Let's say that CITS services can provide information about other road users or the environment ahead to the vehicles, even before the vehicle is in the situation where it could use its own sensors. And so it allows for warnings, guidance, corrective actions earlier and with more precision than with the previously mentioned ITS services. And the information can come from roadside infrastructure or from other vehicles, as mentioned. And they are, in many cases, more developed iteration of the ITS services that require closer presence to the situation and good conditions, like, for example, a motorcycle occluded by a truck, and the CITS mitigates this requirement. By enabling a communication channel between road infrastructure and vehicles, cooperative ITS services can provide the user with information about the route they are taking, such as warning them about upcoming road hazards, for example, slow or stationary vehicles, congestions, or other road conditions, or even weather conditions, and real-time actual information about the contents of the traffic sign along the road provided by a trusted source. So cooperative ITS rules what are your senses as a driver, for example, but also as enforcement, as public authorities. So they give you additional eyes, additional senses. We are also talking, for example, about the electronic horizon. It's much more than the horizon that you see with your eyes, because there is additional information that can be provided to you by sensors, let's say, distributed along the road, and so on. Also, for example, a common application is related to emergency vehicles, because they could themselves send the warning signals to other vehicles on the road, so they extend the, let's say, capacity of sending signals through their usual tools like so that they have more time to plan how to give way to the emergency vehicle. Other cooperative ITS services aim to optimize the trips further, like GLOSA. You see here the green light optimal speed advisory system that relays information about the timing of the traffic lights to optimize the speed at which the driver should approach the lights for smoother passing. Urban and motorway parking availability informs the vehicle about free parking places, services at the parking lot, like capacity, equipment, limitations, security. It could be really a number of additional information that maybe we are not even aware of, all the information that could be shared, and could also automatically pay parking fees. CITS parking services enhance existing processes such as rest time management of truckers by offering parking information automatically at a relevant frequency. These are systems linked also with regulation and, for example, rest time rules that are, let's say, regulated by the European Commission and are, for example, enforced and recorded using digital tachograph. Then we have additional example like cooperative adaptive cruise control. That's the next step in cruise control technology and allows vehicles to synchronize their motion in a platoon by communicating trajectory-related information between the vehicles. That's at the base, for example, of truck platooning that is becoming more and more popular, and it's, I would say, the first concrete example of automation. Certain cooperative ITS services adapt features of the road network based on the vehicles on the road. For example, the green priority service changes the status of traffic signals when emergency or public transportation vehicles approach it. Similarly, cooperative traffic lights for vulnerable road users monitor the conditions at the junction, and the vulnerable road users using it can warrant priority or change the crossing time based on the data. Dynamic lane management, the last one in this list, can change the status of auxiliary, reserved, or reversible lanes based on the real-time traffic conditions and propagate the information about the status change to the vehicles. Cooperative ITS services to be delivered based on the amount of benefits to drivers and the ease of delivery, starting from hazard warnings and advisory services. And with time, more intelligent, advanced, and dynamic services will be implemented. And the European Commission has also supporting projects with funding. Among the activities promoted by the EC, it is worth mentioning an Horizon 2020 project called the C-Mobile that is working on large-scale deployment of CITS. It's a kind of, let's say, twin project with capital. And I also invite you to ask for more information or contact us for more information if you are interested. So, why are these systems difficult to deploy? You see, they are really based on new technologies, but the reason why they are very difficult to implement is because they are involving a complex ecosystem. We have identified these, let's say, as the initial, at least, actors to be considered in the deployment of any cooperative ITS or ITS. And there is lack of knowledge, especially in public authorities, who are usually those in charge of deploying ITS and CITS. And if the benefit of ITS and CITS is more or less known, it's difficult to really grasp some aspects related to the deployment of ITS and CITS. And this is exactly when we come to the capital project, because in this project we are exactly trying to give an answer to this lack of knowledge about ITS and CITS. So the project is funded by the European Commission and aimed at the beginning at identifying what are the capacity needs in ITS and CITS. So we conducted some research surveys and identified like some gaps in, as you can see in this slide, what are the relevant technologies and standards, what are the procurement models involved, business models as well, legal issues, what are the best practices, is anybody, let's say, already experienced in terms of deployment of these solutions, and so on. All this information you can also find in some of the deliverables of the project, some of the reports, the analysis that were conducted at the beginning. So this has led us to the identification of capacity needs in different stakeholders, but mainly, again, as mentioned before, among public administration and public authorities. So public authorities have been identified as the main target for the project, and that's why we have organized a number of training workshops for them. We have organized webinars. This is the first. Of course, this is not limited to public authorities only, but again, that was identified as the main target group for this kind of activity. And training programs to be organized within the framework of the project span from access and management of data, cooperative ITS, and we have mentioned some at the beginning, passenger transport services, traffic management, and so on. Also, an important aspect is provision of best practices. Again, who has done this, especially in regards to evaluation methods, cost-benefit analysis, procurement, business models. And how is capital filling the gap? We have, let's say, developed an approach that is, as mentioned, assessment of capacity needs and knowledge gaps. The second has been developing a community engagement plan, then provide tools and methods to fill the capacity gaps. And these are basically three tools that we are delivering. The e-learning platform, and you will learn more about this specific tool in the second part of this webinar. Transferability handbook, which is a collection of best practices, and workshops that are also another way to really provide more customized training and face-to-face, through face-to-face workshops. What we would like to do at the end of the project, before the end of the project actually, is to set up a new concept for a sustainable and long-term engagement. And this webinar today is also to further assess the need and further assess what could be the value and the business model for this kind of, let's say, services. I will bring you, let's say, quickly through the three tools that are that have been developed by the project. The first is the e-learning platform, and my colleague Julia will teach you more about this later. Then we have, as mentioned, the transferability handbook. And here I would only like to underline structuring to structure the best practices that we are collecting in ITS and CITS deployment. And these you see on the right of the slide on your screen, these are 6 different elements that we consider are essential for public authorities to know, to understand better in order to be able to better deploy ITS and CITS. So first of all, it's about the needs and challenges. What are, let's say, the needs and challenges that the ITS solutions is addressing? Then the technical description of the solution of the service provided. So public authorities need to know a little bit about the technologies, especially in terms of interoperability, for example. Then business model, we have seen that there are different stakeholders involved, so it's important to understand the business model and the stakeholders involved, how to engage with them, and then the value in use. What is the positive impact created by the deployment of this solution? The third tool that was developed by Capital Project is, let's say, practical implementation of live training workshops. We have today training happening in Greece, on the map different locations where we have organized training. So there are some still to be organized. And one will be in conjunction, as mentioned, with the ITS European Congress. Then I would say that before going into the e-learning platform, we can see already if there is any question from your side, because we so we have a question from Jesper that is talking about the CITS Delegated Act. That's from the Commission side, and that's under let's say development. We as ERTICO, we are involved, let's say, in the process of consultation. I think it should be adopted before the end of 2019, but I'm not quite sure. I think that would be more a question for the European Commission. So, of course, we will keep this under, let's say, we will monitor this, because that's we work more on the deployment side, but we of course are interested in what is let's say being discussed in terms of regulation. I don't see other question for the moment, so I don't know if there is any other question. Maybe we wait just a few seconds.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julia. I work for ERTICO as a project dissemination officer. And today I would like to show you briefly the main features of the platform and how you can easily navigate, enroll, and follow different courses. So, just a second. So, e-learning platform basically is an open online training platform for public and private stakeholders who would like to learn more about ITS and CITS deployment. So there are different courses available depending on the level of users, starting from the beginner to advanced. And today I would like actually to show you how you can easily use it and what kind of features are available there for you. So let me just sign out to show you how it works. So yes, so here we are on the main page, and here that's where you can find all the courses. So all in all, there are 9 courses available. The first course basically covers the basic of ITS and CITS, and then the next courses they go more into details. So to be able to follow courses, you need first to register and then to enroll. However, we have a feature, for example, if you'd like first to see whether it's of your interest, you can preview the first course without any registration. So to register, that's very easy. You can see there is a very short and simple form which you need to fill in, and within 5-10 minutes you will receive the usual confirmation email, and then you can easily sign in. So now I'm going to sign in with my account where I've already registered to show you how it works. So once you sign in, you have your profile, and if you go to your dashboard, you can see, for example, the list of courses you already have enrolled in. If you'd like to see what kind of courses you would like to follow, depending, of course, on your interest and on your knowledge, for example, you can go to the main page to have a full overview. Let's say, for example, I would like to check what the course number 5 is about. You simply go to an overview where you can find all the useful information. If you are interested, you simply press to enroll and you're in. Afterwards, you can view the course. Sometimes it takes some time. So here, just to give you also an idea how the courses are structured. So each course consists of several videos which are up to 10-15 minutes long. And after each course, there is a quiz where you can test and see whether all the information was well perceived. So for each quiz, you have 3 attempts to pass. For example, if you've tried for the first time and you did not succeed, you can go back to the video and then to try to pass the quiz again. Another important point to mention that also, yes, here you have the pre-course survey and post-course survey. That's why, because we are constantly trying to improve your user experience. So, for example, if you have any feedback for us, please feel free to send it. That will be much appreciated. Also, something to be mentioned that, for example, to be able to go to the next quiz, first you need to either successfully or unsuccessfully to complete the first one. Once you used your 3 attempts, you will receive the right answers. So once you are done with quiz 1, you will have access to the next one. Then I would also like to mention that for each course you have course handouts. That's where you have either the PowerPoint presentation or a PDF document where you can have a full overview of the course, and also you can have access to the information which was introduced in a video. Also, there are some other additional features. So, for example, here you have a discussion field where you can post questions, and also you can create different discussions with other users. Currently, we have more than 800 people registered. So, yes, you have lots of opportunities to discuss. Another option here, after the discussion, you have also the progress. So in this case, okay, I have not followed this course yet and I have not completed any quizzes, but for example, once you start doing that, you will see, you can keep track of your success. So how many questions you got right, and then it will be shown in percentages. we will have a new, very interesting feature in 2019, and we are really excited about it. You will be, once you successfully completed the course, you will be able to obtain a certificate, which will confirm that you followed the course and yes, you've successfully passed the quizzes. However, it should be more than 70% right. We will see, we also see in it additional benefits, since, for example, if you would like to improve or, let's say, deepen your knowledge about ITS, and, for example, you would like to do it during your working hours, this is also something which would help you to justify it to your employer. Also, maybe last but not least, you also have your profile option here and account settings. So here, for example, you can set up your preference language, your country zone, also your educational level, as well as you have my profile, for example, where you can update your short bio. So like that, you can make it more visible and create more interaction with other users. I think that's all from my side. If you have any questions, please feel free to send them. And of course, yes, if you, for example, have some ideas how to make it user-friendly, or you have any feedback for us, please feel free to send. And important, maybe the last thing to mention, that you can actually enroll in any of the courses, so it does not have to start with the course 1. You can pick up any course depending on your interest and knowledge, and just follow it. Thank you.
So it looks there is no question. So we will, oh, there is one question, I see. There is a question about courses period. These courses are accessible at any time. They are online. You just have to register, and then you can access any course you want at your pace. So you can choose when to have them. It's really based on your availability. So there is they are still available and open. We wait maybe for other question, if any. In the platform, in the online platform. These are some feedback we received when you enroll and when you start courses. We ask some information about why you are interested in attending these courses. So these are some of the feedback we collected to show that it's public authorities, but it's also universities, it's also consultancy, it's let's say different kind of stakeholders. This is to introduce you to some of the next activities that we will organize. We are, again, I repeat, talking about capacity building and training. And we are in the framework of a capital project funded by the European Commission. We still have 1 year, more or less, to go before the end of the project. So we are organizing some additional activities to disseminate the project, but also to really organize real-life training. And one of the biggest, I would say, event that we will organize would be in the framework of the ITS European Congress that will happen next year in June, from the 3rd to 6th of June 2019 in Brainport, Eindhoven in the Netherlands. And we will organize 2 training sessions for cities, but not only. And in the framework of these, if you will be tuned in any of the channels of the project, we are launching a call for best practices. It means that we will open, let's say, kind of competition on deployment of best practice of ITS, and actually one on ITS and one on cooperative ITS. And the winners of this competition, one for ITS and one for CITS, will, let's say, win, let's say, a trip to participate to the ITS World Congress, and they will have the opportunity to the best practice during the Congress, during these workshops that we will organize. So you will hear more about these. There is also, in the framework of the Congress, an open call for contributions. That's also another opportunity to participate and learn more. There is also a call for papers and call for sessions that will be open until the 11th of January 2019. And these are the main topics that will be discussed during the Congress. It's, let's say, a Congress that usually attracts over 3,500 people. That's the European version. So more than 150 stands with companies providing solutions in ITS, CITS. So that's a good moment, a good way to learn more, absolutely learn more about the topics. And that's also where cities and high-level government, state representatives gather to discuss about the deployment of ITS, and also with a wide coverage from the media. There will be also additional webinars. So this was the first one in a series of 6 projects. So this was kind of introductory webinar on especially the e-learning platform. Next webinars will be more focused on different topics. We will have a webinar in January 2019 on ITS and CITS standards, testing and certification, followed by an impact assessment of ITS and CITS in February. Then we will talk more about the financial incentives, business models, and CITS deployment, procurement, and these kind of, let's say, aspects related to deployment of these systems. Then again, on deployment of ITS and CITS, but more from, let's say, different perspective, including technical, regulatory, and let's say this kind also of activities around the deployment of ITS. And then the last but not least will be the presentation of Transferability Handbook. That is a collection of best practices. This will be launched just before, say, the Congress in the Netherlands, the ITS European Congress, and it will be formally announced, publicly announced during the Congress. So this webinar will be, let's say, a preview of what will be presented in June. This was, let's say, the last information that we wanted to share with you. We are still maybe open for a few minutes for questions from your side. You're quite silent, so I hope we were able to share with you some good information, some interesting information. Feel free to ask any question. We'll leave the floor open to questions that you can write in the system. If you want to ask or talk, discuss, we can also let's say give you give you the floor. Just raise your hand. If not, I would say thank you very much for this webinar from my side and from Julia, my colleague. It was a pleasure, let's say, sharing with you this information, and we hope that you will, let's say, try and register to some of the courses, visit us at the European World Congress, and send us any feedback if you want to send anything. And yeah, I would close the webinar, and thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you. Bye-bye.